Good day, Crime Talk aficionados. My name is Scott Reich, and this is Crime Talk. First on the docket today, more facts in the Debbie Collier matter down there in Georgia. An update on a story that turned out to not be exactly as it was originally reported. Let's take a listen to the exact words the district attorney says when she asked for money to prosecute up to 4 people regarding the death of Helena Hutchins. Yep, they're coming for you, Alex. A bizarre story of a rogue doctor, someone committing dating malpractice, and then finally, your dumb criminal of the day. Let's talk about it. Good day, aficionados. Thanks for joining us here today. I want to thank everybody for doing so. Just a quick reminder, we will be going live tonight, 6 p.m. Mountain Time on all of our channels. You can join us right here. Okay, before we get started, you know the drill. Subscribe if you haven't, like if you do, leave me a comment, hit that bell, and remember you can listen to us on any of your favorite podcasting apps. Now, let's support the people that support Crime Talk, you know, the ones that help pay the bills. Well, that's right. Have you noticed what's going on down there near Florida? Evacuations. Why? A hurricane. What do they call that? Oh, potential natural disaster. What happens when the power goes out and you can't get around? You need emergency food supply. When the emergency arrives, it's too late. You have to prepare in advance. So how do you do that? You go to crimetalkprep.com and you can get 20% off a 3-month emergency food supply. Now, you don't have to buy 3 months worth. You can buy more, frankly. You can buy less. But you need to have an emergency food supply. So when you go to crimetalksearch.com, sign up, get your 20% off, and get your emergency food supply, because guess what? No one is coming. You are on your own. You need to be prepared. Whatever it is, natural disaster, hurricane, now is not the time down there in Florida to say, hey, I think we should get some food. And the governor's telling everybody, when the power goes off, it could be a couple of days or a week until the power is restored, depending on the size of the hurricane. You have to be prepared. So go to crimetalkprep.com. All right, let's get to the docket. First, cops have released video footage of the last known sighting of murdered Georgia mom Debbie Collier. And where was she? She was entering a Family Dollar store less than 24 hours before her naked and burnt body was discovered in a wooden ravine. Now, the 59-year-old appeared calm and not in fear of anything as she bought several items, some of them later found with her in footage released by the Habersham County Sheriff's Office. Now, Collier is wearing a replica of Herschel Walker's shirt from his time at the University of Georgia, a blue skirt, what appears to be black boots with slight heels, and a red sun visor as she walks into the store in Clayton, Georgia, about 2:55 p.m. on September 10th. She is then seen at the cash register buying a rain poncho, refillable torch lighter, a 2-roll pack of paper towels, a 7x5 by 9x5 tarp, and a reusable tote bag. Collier leaves the store at approximately 3:09 p.m., and investigators confirmed the purchases by getting a copy of the receipt, according to the sheriff's office. 8 minutes after leaving the store, her daughter Amanda Bearden receives a mysterious message along with nearly $2,400. In the video, the victim appears to be calm and not in fear of anything, says the police department, and all video footage obtained from the store and surrounding businesses reflect that the victim was alone in the van at the time she visited the store. Now, some mention of the van is a reference to the black Chrysler Pacifica the mom had rented from Enterprise rental car because her own truck was in the repair shop. Now, the minivan was discovered the next day at the entrance of the densely wooded area off of Route 15, close to the scenic Tallulah Falls, which is about 60 miles north of where Collier lived in Athens, Georgia, with her husband, Steve. Now, Clayton is another 12 miles further north of Tallulah Falls. I'm sure somebody will tell me I mispronounced that, but we're taking a shot at it. This information allows investigators to narrow the time of death to a window beginning at about 3:09 p.m. on Saturday, September 10th, to the discovery of the body on September 11th at about 12:44 p.m. Now, the somewhat baffling death has additionally taken another twist. The sheriff's office also revealed Collier's daughter, Miss Bearden, was not at the store as they had originally been told. Now, over the weekend, investigators were given information that Amanda Bearden was at the Family Dollar store in Clayton, Georgia on Saturday, September 10th. An interview of the store clerk on duty on the 10th, in addition to review of the camera footage, revealed that Miss Bearden was not at the store on the 10th of September. Now, Debbie's 15-minute visit to the Family Dollar store came just before she sent 36-year-old Amanda $2,385 via Venmo, which is a financial app for those who haven't used it, and an eerie message that created speculation of a kidnapping. She was discovered naked and dead a day later. The message read, "They are not going to let me go. Love you. There is a key to the house in the blue flower pot by the door." Collier was reported missing, and her rental van was found by police beside the entrance to an old logging road near Victory Home Lane in Clarksville. Her body was discovered some quarter of a mile away. Police reported she was clinging to a small tree, was naked, and was charred in some spots. A red tote bag was nearby, as was a blue tarp, both items she had bought in Clayton. She was found lying next to an area of burnt leaves a few feet away from an uprooted tree with roots. Interesting. Apparently, all of the children and close family members have been interrogated. No one has said they are a person of interest, but why would those versions of the events be told? I think the police are narrowing in on somebody. Let me know in the comments what you think. Hey, do you remember this story? Turns out it wasn't exactly quite the way it was reported. So a 33-year-old woman who was previously accused of pulling a gun on another driver during an alleged road rage incident, purportedly sparked by the latter's vaccinated bumper sticker, is claiming that authorities unlawfully charged her with a crime based on false information. Now, several months ago, after the aggravated assault with a deadly weapon charge against her were dropped, Christina Lynn Blair is now suing the city of Albuquerque and the two arresting police officers for numerous alleged transgressions. Now, the incident took place back in February of 2022, and I remember talking about this story saying, wow, that's a little crazy overkill. Well, apparently not exactly what happened. So officers with the Albuquerque Police Department at approximately 5 p.m. responded to a Walgreens located in northeast Albuquerque in response to a man calling 911 and claiming a woman had just pulled a gun on him. The man allegedly told the police that he was driving when a woman suddenly began to honk her horn at him and yell obscenities regarding his vaccinated bumper sticker. The man then reportedly signaled to Blair to go around him, but he said that she refused and instead continued to follow him, even throwing a water bottle at his car when he stopped at a red light. The man then reversed into Blair's car, reportedly saying he did so by accident because, well, he was afraid. Following the collision, the man reportedly pulled into the Walgreens to exchange insurance information. He claimed that an extremely irate Blair took out her handgun and racked the slide to load the firearm. The man then reportedly called 911 because he was afraid again that she was going to shoot him. Well, a grand jury indicted Blair on March 7th on one count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon in New Mexico's 2nd Judicial District. She was taken into custody by police inside of her home while her husband and young stepdaughter were present. The arresting officers had at least 3 assault-style rifles and 2 pistols when they allegedly went into Blair's home without a search warrant and arrested her. However, prosecutors dismissed the charges against Blair less than a week after her indictment. Now, Blair, on March 11, pled not guilty, and the prosecutors that same day dropped the case against her, reportedly noting that, quote, New Mexico law does not make it a crime for an individual to be visibly armed during a verbal argument without an accompanying threat of force. Now, Blair's attorney, a guy by the name of Christopher Dodd, said that Christina Blair was put through really a pretty horrific few weeks, and it was all because the Albuquerque Police Department did not follow the Constitution and did not follow the laws of New Mexico. Blair allegedly lost her job as a result of the subsequent media attention garnered by her arrest and is seeking unspecified damages against the city. In the lawsuit, Blair refutes the other driver's narrative, asserting that Blair was the victim by claiming that the other driver intentionally put his vehicle into reverse and proceeded to slam his Honda into the front of Miss Blair's vehicle. The suit concedes that Blair took out her handgun, but places the actions in a much different context. Fearing for her safety from a much larger male, Miss Blair went to her vehicle and briefly retrieved a small pistol. That's according to the complaint that she's filed. The gun stayed at or below her waistline the entire time. The suit additionally alleges that the other driver filmed the encounter, and the video shows that Blair never trained the firearm on the other driver, nor did she actuate the slide or make any threatening motions with the gun. So we'll see how that turns out. But we've talked about it before. Prosecutor can indict a ham sandwich. It does not take much for an indictment to go before the grand jury. Both sides of the story are not presented, and the prosecution only presents the facts that are good to them. They do not have a duty at that point to present the facts that are bad to them. And sometimes when you do that, apparently, possibly, it can turn out to be really expensive to the city. Oh, and the individual police officers for allegedly violating somebody's constitutional rights. Sounds expensive. That's why you got to get it right. And in some states, like here where I practice law, police officers no longer have that immunity, at least up to the first $25,000 that they'd be on the hook for. All right, yesterday we brought you the story that the district attorney in Santa Fe was requesting additional funds to prosecute up to 4 people in regards to the Rust shooting regarding the death of Helena Hutchins. Well, go ahead and if you don't believe me, listen to the DA. It doesn't take very long to get the idea that she's prosecuting somebody, and she says that she's been in contact with lots of attorneys. Obviously, there's a civil case going on, lots of civil cases going on. But once they get this report, they're going to, prosecute. It would seem very reasonable that they would prosecute the person that pulled the trigger in the case.
This is an emergency funding request. The request is for, it was originally for $635,000. It all comes down to the case that from the Rust movie set that happened almost exactly a year ago. It happened October 21st of last year. We are within weeks, if not days, of receiving the final report from the sheriff's office. He and his officers have had that for the last year. We've been waiting on FBI reports, phone reports, and there were hundreds of people to interview. As the case has become clearer to us, although it is still relatively opaque, as I said, because we don't have that final report, it's become apparent that we will be potentially charging between 1 and 4 people with criminal charges. And with that, and each of those charges will probably include some variation of our homicide statute. Homicide statutes are, homicide cases are the most complex and litigious. One of the people that would be looking at potential charges already has attorneys. We're dealing with attorneys from Los Angeles, from New York City. And at this point, I think we have spoken with around a dozen attorneys from all over the country that are dealing with these cases.
Alec, I think they're coming for you. Oh, and by the way, congratulations on your 7th child with your wife that just took place the other day. Congratulations. Next, a crazy doctor, Rouge Doctor. I don't know how to pronounce. What do you do with this? So this now going to be soon to be former anesthesiologist Reynaldo Ortiz was arrested on September 15th and is charged with tampering with consumer products causing death or serious injury. intentionally adulterating a drug knowing it would likely cause an adverse health reaction, among other charges. It is alleged that the good doctor injected poison into IV bags, leading to the death of one physician and a cardiac emergencies in 11 patients. And apparently, he's been caught on surveillance footage tampering with the bags. Oop, that's a bad fact for the defense there, isn't it? Video shows Dr. Ortiz emerging into an empty hallway, moving towards a fridge used for warming saline solutions, IV bags. He passes the fridge before returning and leaves an IV bag inside. Throughout this process, Dr. Ortiz is shown scanning the room. The bag that was left inside was later administered to a 56-year-old woman undergoing cosmetic surgery who then suffered cardiac complications and was rushed to a nearby hospital. A second clip follows Ortiz as he places a saline pouch hidden under a folder in his arm into the fridge. The pouch was then given to a 54-year-old woman who also suffered a cardiac emergency. Now, Ortiz was arrested after Dallas police investigated the death of Dr. Melanie Casper, an anesthesiologist at the Surgicare North Dallas facility, who died from cardiac arrest after using an IV bag she took from work to rehydrate. An ensuing toxicology report found her body contained the same drugs in the IV bags that Ortiz handled. As the surveillance footage was played in a court hearing, federal prosecutors labeled Ortiz a medical terrorist. Incident involving tampered IV bags started after facility administrators investigated Ortiz after one anesthesia patient stopped breathing during a routine procedure. According to court documents, Dr. Ortiz was allegedly distraught over the probe and felt the hospital was trying to crucify him, while patients started to suffer unexplained heart anomalies 2 days after the investigation began. The medical board previously reprimanded Ortiz after he shot a neighbor's dog in 2018. In addition, there was allegations that Ortiz has a history of violence towards women. Dr. Ortiz was found guilty of cruelty to animals and spent 29 days in jail in 2016 for shooting the dog. After the neighbor helped, Ortiz's then-girlfriend obtained a protection order against him after an alleged domestic violence incident. The history of violence against women refers to the 1999 arrest for allegedly assaulting a spouse and a 2005 protective order against him sent by a different girlfriend. A testing of the fluid inside the IV bags found that the contents contained, here we go, epinephrine, or the hormone adrenaline, as well as buvaxanine and lidocaine, which apparently causes the heart to beat out of control and blood pressure can spike. Now, the hospital investigator said the incident involving Dr. Casper and the other patients were likely not isolated and were likely a pattern of intentional adulteration of IV bags used for procedures. Now, the staff determined that there were approximately 10 other suspected incidents since May of 2022 where patients experienced unexpected cardiovascular complications during otherwise unremarkable surgeries. Other cardiovascular incidents involving suspected compromised IV bags occurred on or around July 7th, 15th, and 18th, and then on August 1st, 4th, 9th, and 19th, according to the court documents. It was also noted that when Ortiz was on vacation between July 23rd and July 28th, coincidentally, there were no issues, yet cardiac incidents suddenly ramped up after his return. I'm sure it's just a big coincidence, right? Well, needless to say, if found guilty, Dr. Ortiz faces life in prison with a possibility of the death penalty. We're going to continue to follow that one. You know, there were, every now and then you get a rogue nurse. Can't recall that many rogue doctors like this, but apparently he's got some issues, maybe some anger issues. Just going on a limb there. Obviously, we'll give him the presumption of innocence. We'll see how that turns out. Next, take a look at this video. Authorities say that an early morning armed carjacking in Philadelphia involving a mother and her teenage daughter is here on the video. The pair were leaving their home at 6:20 a.m. on September 19th when a carjacker ambushed them with a gun. And the Philadelphia Police Department said in a video released Monday asking for help identifying the suspect. It appears he was laying in wait. He rode a bicycle up there, left the bicycle behind, and the police have that. Maybe they can get some fingerprints or DNA. Who knows? It was probably stolen too. The suspect took the woman's purse as they both got into the vehicle. Now, the police recommend always do not resist and don't get yourself hurt in these type of situations. It's not worth being injured. And I get that. It's a situation by situation type of thing. But I think a jury of one's peers would probably find that you were justified in shooting back if you were armed, if somebody else was pointing a gun at you. I think one could reasonably say that you were in fear of death or serious bodily injury, which is the general rule. But as a general rule, don't do that, okay? Don't do it, but if you do, you'll probably be okay. Needless to say, no arrests have been made, hence the police would like their information. And where this young lad makes a big mistake is, yes, you don't steal other people's things. He took it with a gun. That complicates everything. Heck, if he had come to Denver, it's not even a felony to steal a car here in Colorado anymore, at least not until I think like your third offense, right? Go figure. Next, an example of some dating malpractice. Now, police found a victim who has not yet been identified crying and still soaking wet near a boat launch in Providence, Rhode Island early Sunday morning. She told police her date became angry with her and drove her red Toyota Camry into the nearby river. The woman was able to open the passenger door and swim out of the river. The police did not say who owned the Camry, probably the same woman who was trying to get out of the car. Needless to say, the woman said her date was a black man with a beard and short hair. He was about 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighed about 182 pounds. Now, the man can be seen leaving the scene on security camera footage from a nearby business, and he appears to be wearing a black hoodie and jeans. The woman said that she met her date on the app Plenty O Fish. According to their website, Plenty O Fish has about 3 million daily users, and they have several incidents where people met on Plenty O Fish and bad things have happened to them. Which reminds me, if you're going to go on dates from people on dating websites, you can't commit dating malpractice. You need to go to CrimeTalkSearch.com and get a background check. That background check is literally going to be done while you wait, and you're going to get the results within minutes. And it's going to show whether somebody has a criminal history, whether they're married, do they have civil judgments against them, are they a registered sex offender? You know, those little things, those little flags that go off. You should check them out. Go to CrimeTalkSearch.com. All right, and then finally, the moment that everybody's been waiting for, our dumb criminal of the day. Now, we've all probably left something behind every now and then, but listen to this story. So the victim goes to Burger King and he orders his food. And it turns out that he left the restaurant after ordering his food, but he left his Wells Fargo debit card on the table. The next day, investigators say that the man found fraudulent transactions worth more than $764 on his checking account. That's frustrating. And one of the transactions was declined at 10:30 p.m. at an unknown Taco Bell. All 4 transactions happened between 9 and 10:37 p.m., just hours after the man paid for his dinner at Burger King, according to the investigators. Now, the victim alerted his bank and the district manager at the Burger King of the situation. The store managers reviewed the surveillance video, and it showed the customer leaving the debit card on the table. A customer initially picked it up, but put it back on the table. Then a Burger King employee picked up the card and gave it to the on-duty night manager. Those pesky videos. According to the arrest report, the night shift manager happened to be Jamie DeMont Jacobs. The manager took the card to the back office and put it in the safe. 8 minutes later, investigators say that Mr. Jacobs, the manager, returned to the office, opened the safe, grabbed the debit card, and put it in his pocket. He went back to the dining room counter before going to the bathroom and returning to the office, where at 7:41 he made a phone call. Investigators say that Jacobs' then girlfriend, who's pregnant, Zakira Brown, arrived. Now, after making the call, Jacobs went to help with orders at the drive-through window for about 20 minutes. Now, the store manager told investigators she found it unusual for the shift manager to help with the drive-thru when the restaurant was fully staffed. And according to the arrest report, Mr. Brown and her 3 young children showed up to meet with Jacobs. Investigators said Jacobs went outside to give Brown the Wells Fargo debit card. Brown then went to Publix. The store surveillance video showed her dressed in, wait for this attire, a pink shower cap, medical face mask, a gray sweater jacket, a multicolored pants, and turquoise slippers. Investigators tried to get surveillance video from the Wawa gas station, but the store manager said the video system wasn't working that evening. But the surveillance video from Walmart showed the same woman from Publix in the same pink shower cap, multicolored pants, and turquoise slipper. This time she only had 1 child with her. After the transaction declined at the checkout register, investigators said the woman left the store and walked to a 2-door silver car similar to the older model Honda Jacobs owned. Now, Brown told investigators that Jacob gave her the credit card and that she ultimately used it at Publix to buy groceries for her daughter's birthday party. And according to the arrest report, she said she used the same stolen card to buy gas at Wawa and food at Taco Bell. She then confessed to dropping off 2 of her children at home before going to Walmart with her youngest child to try to buy more stuff for the party. When the card was declined twice, she said she left the store empty-handed. Now, Mr. Jacobs, our hero of the story, admitted to being in the surveillance video at Burger King, but denied giving the card to anyone. He also denied knowing Brown when shown a picture of her. Did I mention that Mr. Jacobs has 3 children with Miss Brown? Needless to say, Burger King manager Mr. Jacobs was fired, and Jacobs acknowledged that the credit card incident and did not dispute it. She also said Jacobs thanked her for not telling authorities before leaving the store. Now, both Jacobs and Brown face charges of trafficking in stolen property, fraud, impersonation, possession of stolen credit cards, and illegal use of stolen credit cards. Now, not only is it dumb to take other people's things, but to take other people's things on video camera. And everywhere you go has video these days, ladies and gentlemen. You're gonna get caught. Don't do it. If you commit crime on video, you're dumb. And then you get to be on the dumb criminal of the day. Congratulations to Mr. Jacobs and Miss Brown. Congratulations, you've made it. You've gone from Burger King manager catapulted to dumb criminal of the day. You're welcome. All right. Please join us for our live show, 6 p.m. tonight, Mountain Time, where we will talk about, well, some dumb criminals, probably the Lori Vallow matter, and anything else you all would like to talk about. Immediately following that, we will have our Patreon shows, so please join us. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time.